What happens if you find a mistake on your 485 application, which is your application for permanent residence? So in this video, I want to discuss two different scenarios. One, you find the mistake before your I-485 interview, even if it's like a day before. And two, you figure out the mistake after your I-485 interview, and really after your I-485 was approved, which comes up in the context of naturalization. Lots of people right now are freaking out because there was like a minor omission or mistake on their I-485 application, and they're wondering, am I gonna get deported when I file my citizenship application? Short answer, probably not, but let's discuss in detail. So let's say you have an I-485 interview, like a marriage-based adjustment of status or whatever, it doesn't really matter what the basis is, and you're coming up to the interview and you realize you or your attorney made a mistake on your I-485 application. Well, that's not a super big deal usually. Like for example, let's say you misspelled the date of birth, or you answered no to the question that asks, have you ever worked without authorization, when the answer should have been yes, or no to question number 76 that asks, have you ever been unlawfully present in the United States, when the answer should have been yes. That's actually not a big deal. You can amend your I-485 application. The way I like to do it is I like to prepare a short written amendment explaining what I want the changes to be, and I like to upload it to my client's I-485 online USCIS portal before the interview, and also have them bring a copy and hand deliver it to the USCIS officer. But you don't have to even do that. At the beginning of the interview, you can just say, officer, I realized there were two minor mistakes on my I-485 application that I would like to amend. The officer will make the changes, and then they'll have you sign an iPad or a tablet that basically says that with these corrections, your I-485 application is correct. That's not a huge deal. But what happens if you just don't mention anything, and then your green card application gets approved, and then you're thinking about applying for citizenship in the future? Now, this scenario is highly fact specific, and I strongly recommend speaking with an attorney before you file your N-400 application if this applies to you. So it depends what the issue was and whether that omission or mistake was a material mistake, which means the outcome of the case could have been different had you disclosed that initially. I'll give you an example. Let's say you misspelled the date of birth. That's not gonna, 99% of the time, I can't really think of a scenario where that would have changed the outcome of the case, unless maybe you were underage and not legally old enough to get married, and it was a marriage-based adjustment of status, which means your marriage wasn't real or was not legally recognized from the beginning. But I can't really think of a scenario aside from that where a date of birth would cause the outcome of the case to be different. Like whether you were born in September or October of 1980 isn't gonna change whether or not you're eligible for the green card. So a minor mistake like that, I wouldn't worry about it. I would still go ahead and file the N-400. You're not gonna end up in removal proceedings. You're not gonna end up having your green card taken away from you just because of a minor non-material misrepresentation like that. But what if you were charged with a crime, and that crime was kind of serious? It was like a minor assault, and you never disclosed it on your application because your criminal defense attorney years ago said it's expunged and you don't need to mention it. And while doing the biometrics and the background checks, USCIS just never caught it. This actually does happen somewhat frequently. Less frequently today, but it used to happen all the time. Well, in that scenario, when you go to apply for your N-400, if that crime rose to the level of a crime involving moral turpitude, you can end up in big trouble. I've seen things like this happen, and USCIS will deny the N-400 and claim that you never properly became a permanent resident. Now, it usually ends there. There are other scenarios where people fail to mention minor traffic violations. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about minor traffic violations that weren't disclosed on the I-485. I cannot tell you how many consultations I've had with people over the last 6 months who said, my attorney in like 2020 told me I didn't need to disclose this minor like red light violation, and I'm freaking out now. Am I deportable? What'll happen if I submit my N-400 application? What'll happen if I file my I-90 to renew my green card? I wouldn't worry about it. Just make sure you disclose it on your new N-400 application if it was just a minor traffic violation. Now, I say that with some caveats. Speak with an attorney. This is not legal advice because I do not know the specific facts of your case. I would really need to see what the exact charge was and what the outcome of the case was to tell you whether or not it could rise to a level of like a material omission or material misrepresentation. Let me give you guys a specific example. I had a client who in 2019 was granted permanent residence. On his I-485 application, he failed to disclose that he received a red light camera violation in the mail. So it was technically a citation that he received in the mail, but he didn't disclose it on his I-485 application. And the reason is because his attorney told him that's not a big deal, you don't need to disclose it. So he didn't. His green card got approved and now he's applying for citizenship. It's not going to get your application denied. The failure to disclose it before is not by itself going to get a new N400 application denied as long as you disclose it on your N400 application. So when it comes to traffic violations on the N400, there are 3 scenarios where you need to disclose traffic violations. 1 is if drugs or alcohol were involved. 2 is if someone was injured. And 3 is if you were physically arrested after the incident. And when I say that, be careful, guys, because there are some traffic violations that are not mere violations. They rise to the level of a misdemeanor. Like, for example, in New York, if you're doubling the speed limit, like the speed limit's 60 and you're going 120, you can be arrested for that. Well, you can actually be arrested for much less than that, but that rises to the level of an actual crime. So when I say traffic violation, be careful with that. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. And I have one small favor to ask. If you're receiving any value out of these videos, nothing would help me more than for you to like the video or subscribe to my channel after watching that specific video, because I receive analytics on my videos and it tells me which videos you guys want me to make more of. You can also write a comment in the video comment section telling me what topics you want me to make in the future, and I will read those, and if they're related to family-based immigration, naturalization, or deportation defense, I will try my best to make a video as soon as I can on those specific topics. If you're new to my channel and you just want to stay up to date on immigration changes, I try to make 5 videos each week on topics that I think are going to benefit the immigration community, so be sure to subscribe if you're interested in that. And if you need any assistance with an immigration matter yourself, you could always schedule a consultation directly with me by clicking the video description below. There's a link to schedule a consultation, or you can give my office a call to learn more, find out what our prices are for different services, or to schedule a consultation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.